Hello, sports fans, and welcome to SportsBeatTV, a production of Oregon Sports Beat. Today, we are at Level Beer, which is at 5211 Northeast 148th, this side of our broadcast. It is it used to be a farm. Now it's a restaurant and a bar. They have indoor-outdoor seating. They've got a couple of food carts. They have a picnic area in the back. We're in the room that's called the barrel room, and this is where they actually age the spirits that they make inside the bar. So it's a fun place to have a little broadcast tonight. We are going to be talking tonight about the USL women's soccer team, the new USL women's soccer team in Portland. I'm Dave Hall, your host. We have three guests with us tonight. Dylan Lamanto, who is the Director of Operations, Eric McClellan, who is the head coach of the victorious team from Friday night, and one of the star players. This is Kaylee Togai. So we're going to talk a little bit first about the United PDX USL women's team with Dylan. Dylan, you're the Director of Operations. What exactly does that mean?
So I was tasked with doing a lot of the initial marketing for the program, as well as a lot of the administrative back end, player registrations, contacting fields, locking down volunteers, game day staff, things like that. Mostly the administrative responsibilities associated with the franchise.
You are the Director of Operations both for the men's team and the women's team.
I am.
So kind of a dual role here.
Definitely.
Tell us a little bit about your background in soccer.
Yeah, sure. So I've been playing my entire life. I'm from Portland. I played at a precursor club to United PDX. I also played at Lincoln High School. And then
Cardinals are very good.
Yeah. Better now than we were then, I think. But then afterwards, I played at the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma, Washington, and returned back to Portland. I've been coaching in Portland ever since. Currently the head coach at Ida B. Wells High School, formerly Wilson High School, and then have a couple of teams with the United PDX Youth Program.
So you have a lot of experience in the Mount Hood Conference.
We are not in the Mount
Hood
Hood
Conference.
PIL.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
The PIL.
Yeah, lots of experience at PIL. Mm-hmm.
And what's going to be your duties as you go forward this season?
Well, now that we're actually into the meat of the season, it's really game day preparation and reporting associated with that, as well as continuing ticket sales pushes and highlighting our players as they perform the way that they've been performing.
I know I've talked a little bit before on the broadcast last Friday night about the structure of the USL. I'm going to see if I've got it correct.
Sure.
Up here at the top is the MSL.
The MLS, yeah,
the MLS. Below that is the USL Championship Division. Is that correct? And then USL 1.
Yep.
And USL 2, and that's where we are. We're at the USL 2.
Correct.
And this is the first year for the women's team here in Portland.
Yeah, this is our first year participating.
Okay, and that's the structure. Now, what does that mean? Players at the USL 2 level, are those paid personnel? Are those semi-pro? What is the classification?
Yeah, so they refer to it as pre-professional. So it's targeted towards under 23 players with professional ambitions, but there's also a provision to allow for a significant number of overage players. So not everyone falls into that age range, but that is the general purpose of the league.
United PDX plays in what league? What are they in?
So we're in the League 2 Northwest Conference.
And who else is in that conference?
Locally, there's PDX FC. Get a little further south, there's Capital Athletica out of Salem, Lane United out of Eugene, and I believe Ole Town out of Olympia, Washington is the last team in our division.
We actually covered your game Friday night against PDX FC. Your next three games that we are going to cover are all Ole Town.
Yeah.
And then I think you wind it up at the end of the year with Lane United and Capital FC. Mm-hmm. You're going to play those games at Oregon Episcopal School. Wow. Great facility.
Very excited to get there, absolutely.
All right, let's talk with head coach McClellan a little bit. First thing I need to say is congratulations on a huge win, 10-1 Friday night over PDX FC. Talk a little bit about that game.
Just the girls perform. At the end of the day, I just kind of set up a little direction and let them play the game of soccer, and they went out there and did what they had to do. So lots of goals, which was exciting, and I think they all had fun and had smiles on their faces after the game, so that's all I could ask for.
I know Kaylee had a hat trick, Nedia had a hat trick, Emily Collier had a couple of goals. You actually had 5 players score goals. It was a great event. How much time have you had to practice as a team before you played that game Friday night?
We had 3 practices basically. It was like we started on Tuesday, we played Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and had a game on Friday night. So it was pretty much a quick turnaround before the game time. So
Before you started playing, of course, you had to assemble a team. How did that happen?
lots of it's just personal relationships and just kind of players I've coached in the past. And then obviously people who've just kind of heard about United PDX and what we're doing. So reached out to me and we just kind of had some conversations and signed them up with Dylan and here they are, coming out and playing.
And you must have convinced your daughter to play for the team?
It was a hard sell, a very hard sell, but she finally came around.
You have a history in soccer. Tell us a little about your history. I know you've been a guest with us before. You're in the Virginia Tech Hall of Fame. I like to tell everybody that. You and Michael Vick and Bruce Smith.
Yeah, same. Growing up playing as a 7-year-old and going to college and then coming playing professional for 8 years. So that was basically a long career, and I'm here now coaching and giving back to the game.
You have an offensive strategy and a defensive strategy. What are those?
Keep the ball in the net. The main thing is
You almost had a shutout.
Almost had a shutout, but just staying organized in the back, communicating, and then in front of the goal having composure and just putting the goal. Basically taking the ball from one side of the field, crossing it in, getting numbers in the box, and scoring.
I noticed you did that very well. One of the things we talked about on the broadcast Friday night, things that stood out in my mind were you managed to get a lot of players forward, and the spacing on those players was incredible. When I looked out there, you were all spaced out, and the passes all went successfully.
And that's our main thing. We're a possession type team. Good players, and they organize very well, and we just kind of talk and work together as a team. And so that's what we're working in practice, is basically just kind of being as a complete unit. And so spacing is very important for us, spreading out the field, spreading out our opponent, and finding holes that we can exploit.
You mentioned that you'd had 3 practices. Have you been able to scout other teams that you're going to play?
No, to be honest, we haven't. And part of our thing is just worry about ourselves. And if we take care of ourselves, everything else will fall into place.
Do you, as part of the league, do you interchange films? Maybe you know about that, Dylan?
Yeah, there's access to films. Requirement in the league to post your footage within 24 hours to a league-wide streaming platform, so you'll have access to all of your opponent's matches.
You're going to be able to do that, Eric?
Hopefully, yeah. As we get along, the season goes along, we'll be able to, get some more scouting and film and be able to see how the opponents are.
Are you able during the course of the season to add or drop players or?
Yeah, we're going to have players coming in and out because some players have to go back to school. Other players are ending school. We're going to be able to come in like mid-June. So we'll have that flexibility throughout the season to bring in players, and players actually have to go, leave the team to go to their pre-seasons for college.
I don't know if we talked or not. Where are some of the other places that you've coached at?
I coached at Virginia Tech as an assistant for a couple of years.
I know you've played all over the world.
Well, over the nation. Yeah, so basically Virginia Tech, I was coached there. I coached at Linfield as assistant coach as well. And then all the youth, basically all the youth clubs here in Oregon, here in Portland area. So.
Have you had some coach in the past that kind of had an influence on your strategy?
Yeah, I'd probably say there's a gentleman called Sonny Askew, and he played for the old Washington Diplomats back in the day. And he was a 17-year-old kid out of high school, went straight to the pros, and he was my U19 coach. And so he was the one that kind of gave me kind of more like the foundation of how I coach today. A lot of possession and just confidence, giving players the confidence to go out and just play.
Well, again, congratulations on a big win. That has to be a confidence builder moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. We one game at a time. So we're 1-0. So each game we got to go 1-0.
You got to go 1-0 every single game.
Every single game, yes.
All right. Let's talk to you, Callie Tagai, for a bit. Callie, first, congratulations on the big win Friday night.
Thank you.
How'd the team react to that win? You almost had a shutout, too. I think they scored with 4 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, honestly, I think we're just all pretty happy to get the dub and just work together given 3 days. But yeah, pretty exciting, especially since it was our very first game ever for this club.
Eric, I know that when you were up near the end at 10-0, I noticed you started putting in a lot of substitutes. So you actually, I think you got 5 minutes at the end there where you got to get everybody in the game and got them to play together. That has to be really helpful going forward.
No, for sure. You want to build confidence. You want to build like depth throughout the season because you never know when someone's going to be asked to come on and perform. So given these opportunities like that, when we have a big lead and getting players experience on the field, it's vital.
Kelly, what's your background in soccer?
I grew up following my sister's footsteps. She played at Tualatin High School and then UVO, so I also went to Tualatin, and then I pretty much played at Crossfire United for ECNL, but now they're Northwest Elite. And then now I'm currently at University of Portland.
And what year are you at Portland?
I'm a junior.
You're a junior and you're majoring in?
Finance.
And you're playing soccer for the Pilots?
Yes.
The game Friday night, that was a big game for you. We were broadcasting, both me and my partner, a couple of times. We were drawn to you because you seem to command the middle of the field down there in front of the net.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice because I was surrounded by a lot of my teammates, so I think we kind of have chemistry, at least in the front four. So we kind of knew like our different movements, and even if we didn't, like we'd make the most of it.
You had a hat trick, 3 goals. Had you ever had that in your career before?
Yeah, but I mean, it was definitely just a team, like we did it as a team, and Nedya was able to score. Like it wasn't just me, and a lot of other players like Emily and Kayla.
Nedya Swan had a hat trick also. Emily Collier had a couple of goals. Interesting on your goals, you scored a goal in the first half with about 27 minutes to go in the game. Came out, you guys were ahead 6-0 at halftime. Right off the bat, you got 2 goals in a minute and a half there in the second half. You got a goal at the 41-minute mark and another one at the 39-minute mark. Were you zeroed in at that point in time? Did you come out and say, I'm going to get us going right here? Because you certainly did.
Yeah, I mean, at halftime, Eric was just kind of saying to like just keep it going. I mean, you can't really ask much for more at half, so I figured just keep the momentum going, and luckily I was able to get 2 more on.
And you seemed to dominate inside. You were able to get free quite a bit in the middle. That's what we noticed a lot. Is there any trick you have to that?
I mean, not really. Just it's kind of, I'd say like soccer IQ, just kind of always moving off the ball, just trying to get in open spaces. But at the end of the day, if my teammate can get the ball to me, I'll try to make the most of the opportunity.
It seemed to me like you got great camaraderie among all your teammates, that you really played together well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we didn't have a lot of trainings to get to know each other, but in that small time, we did make the most of it, and just tried to kick the ball around, and we all have soccer in common, so that's helpful.
Well, again, congratulations on the win, congratulations on the hat trick. Dylan will be covering 5 more of your games. We're looking forward to that, plus the 6 men's games that we have coming up. Eric, I'm looking forward to watching your coaching and watching your players coming up the rest of the season. We have 5 more of the women's games to cover, and good luck in the upcoming season.
Appreciate that.
All right, thanks for joining us here at Oregon Sports Beat. Thanks for the USL women's team, the United PDX team. We'll look forward to their games coming up. I'm your host, Dave Hall. Good night, everybody. Hello, sports fans, and welcome to SportsBeatTV, a production of Oregon Sports Beat. I'm your host, Dave Hall. We are doing this segment on the USL men's soccer team in Portland. They are called United PDX. We have with us 3 people affiliated with United PDX. This is Dylan Lamanto, and Dylan is the Director of Operations. We'll talk to Dylan. Then we have Matt Broadhead, who is actually the head coach and general manager, dual titles, I get that, right? Yep. And we have one of the players with us, Nick Denley, who is a student at the University of Portland. All right, let's talk a little bit about the United PDX men's team. We'll start with Dylan, since you're the Director of Operations. We had you on before, and you are also the Director of Operations of the women's team, so you're combining those 2 duties?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a crash course learning how the league operates and the administrative side of it, and also simultaneously launching 2 franchises. But with the backing of the youth club, we have a bit of a built-in fan base, and it's been pretty easy to get it off of the ground.
Usually it's pretty difficult to launch one new franchise. You're working on 2 at the same time.
Certainly.
Tell us a little bit how those franchises get started. How did you get into the USL? Sure.
So this is something that we've been discussing since at least 2020, if not before that, deciding when the right time was to move forward with it. COVID halted our plans to some extent to jump in as soon as we wanted to. We knew that this was a direction we wanted to take the club and provide that higher level option for players that were a bit older. And so this was the year that it made sense for us. And so we've been moving towards it since I've been involved since January, and just trying to lay the groundwork to have a good first season.
Tell us something about your background in soccer. I know you've played.
Sure.
And now, of course, you're in the management position.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about how you crossed that spectrum.
Yeah, no problem. I grew up in Portland, playing in Portland. I played relatively locally in college at the University of Puget Sound, and then I've been back coaching in the Portland youth soccer ecosystem ever since. And so this was kind of a natural progression for me. It's something that I wanted to be involved with, is providing extra opportunities for Portland players, things that weren't available when I was a kid playing. And so jumping into the administrative side was a way that I could directly influence that and help out with that right away.
What are some of the duties of the Director of Operations? Do you have sponsors?
We do, yeah. So Level Beer is actually our jersey sponsor. So very happy to be here, very happy that they're involved. We're also sponsored by Core Water as our water sponsor. They're also on our sleeves of all of our training and game jerseys. But duties have been, heavily marketing the program initially, trying to get it off of the ground, educating our customer base on what this league is, why you want to be a part of it, why you want to follow it, and then, mundane administrative tasks like prepping fields, getting volunteers for game day staff, player registrations, all of the associated paperwork that comes with that.
Do you actually do any of the scouting yourself for players?
I didn't do any of the actual player recruitment this year. That fell heavily upon the coaches, but we definitely all kind of collaborate word of mouth. Players that we have connections to, somebody knows someone that knows someone, things like that.
Are you involved in marketing at all?
Yeah, I've been heavily involved in the marketing, ticket sales, both via traditional means and social media. Yeah.
I know you're going to play at OES, or you're going to Episcopal schools, but you played Friday night. The women played at Westside Christian.
We did.
My observation was you had a really good crowd, and they were really into the game.
I thought we had a great crowd for an inaugural game. Yeah, I was very, very happy with that, with the turnout that we had there. I think it brought the atmosphere that we were looking for.
What about the facilities at OES?
The facilities at OES are fantastic, from the locker rooms to the actual pitch itself. The ability for us to create that stadium environment where it's ringed in, we can control and people coming in and going. We have lots of space for concessions, for activities. Once we get to OES, we'll start instituting our theme nights, and yeah, we're really excited to be there.
Coach Matt Broadhead. Matt, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
You don't have a game under your belt yet. You play this Friday night. I think you play, let me see, Oleytown FC.
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about your team.
Our group, it is all current college players. Other than 2 players, Gio Calixto is a former pro who is actually trying to latch on with a pro club after our season's over with. He's played 5 years professional. Quinn Farrell is a center back. He plays for the U.S. Virgin Islands national team in his time outside of us. And then the rest of everybody is current college players, and we do have some youth players that are in our training environment that we're bringing up through the ranks over the next couple of years.
Did you have a hand in picking players for the team?
Every single one of them.
All right. Now, tell us about your background in soccer. I know it's pretty extensive.
My mom signed me up when I was 5 years old, and my first game was 110 degrees in Los Angeles. Now, it was 11v11 back then. They didn't do small-sided, and I was the one kid that was running up and down the field the whole time, and my mom thought I had a future.
You stood out early.
So when I decided I wanted to quit soccer in about 6th or 7th grade, play tackle football, she told me no, but the wrong body type. When I decided I wanted to quit soccer to play basketball, she told me no, I had the wrong body type, and she was right.
Does she ever say, Matt, I told you so?
No, I tell her that she knew. Yeah. And thank you. So.
Okay, and after that, after the youth soccer, what happened?
I was fortunate enough, I did 1 year of college soccer and was fortunate enough to live my dream for roughly 9 years in all leagues in this country, indoors, USL, MLS, all up and down. A little bit of a gypsy journeyman career.
You played in the MLS?
I had a cup of coffee in the MLS, yeah.
Who were you?
FC Dallas and Columbus Crew.
Oh.
Yeah. But that was not a mainstay, so that was kind of just a brief stint there. But no, been around. I'm fortunate that soccer is the only job I've had since I graduated high school. So soccer field is the most comfortable place in the world for me.
So you've never had to turn in a resume or be rejected for a job? Maybe I touched the sore point there.
I guess not.
Okay, coaching experience.
Yeah, so when I was done playing, the only thing I had going for myself was soccer. And so it made it really easy. You can be an administrator, a referee, or a coach. And I knew I wasn't going to be a referee because I yelled at him all the time. And I wasn't going to be an admin because that wasn't a strength of mine. And so coaching kind of fit naturally. When you're playing as a professional, you have the player appearances at elementary schools, and you end up working with kids, summer camps, all that stuff, and it fit really natural. And then I come from a family of teachers where my mom was a teacher, her sister was a teacher, both her brothers were a teacher, and her mother was a teacher. So teaching is kind of in my DNA to work with kids. So it's all kind of fallen into place naturally.
How did you come by this job?
I've been in Portland 5 years. I was working with Brandon McNeil with the Olympic Development Program with the regional teams. We traveled a lot for about 5 years. It's a lot of hotel rooms, that's a lot of discussions, a lot of meals, and we had a vision to build a youth soccer club. I was running one in Utah at the time, and when he was able to do the merge and get that done with Northeast United and Bradamile, it made sense for me to move out and help with this project.
Tell us a little bit about your strategy, offense, defense, and maybe some of the players we should watch this year.
Summer League's a little bit different. With the heat of the Summer League, I ask a little bit different demands defensively of our group. When you get to a situation where you can't sub in and out like college soccer, and it's like the pros, where you can't go back in, it changes things. So we aren't chase you all over the field for 90 minutes, run 100 miles an hour. We like to get organized. When you're on that turf and it's 90 degrees outside, it's actually 105 for the players,
right,
which people forget about. So I want to make sure to look after our athletes that way. And then on the attack, we like to be fast through the middle with some showtime on the wings. So we like our wide guys to be good dribblers and have the ability to take guys on the freedom. In short description, that's kind of how I like to do things. Yeah.
Who should we watch this year?
I mean, everybody.
Okay. Who are you going to play in goal this year?
We have two goalkeepers that are the job's up for grabs. Brian Lanier has been with me the past 2 years. He's at Pacific in the West Coast Conference, and he's been with me the past 2 years, grinding things out. He got a game last year, and then Cash Oladapo is the other goalkeeper there. And I imagine that there'll be times where they share duties, unless one of the two beats each other out significantly.
Well, while we're talking about players, let's talk to one of your players, Nick Denley. Nick, thanks for joining us. You are a student at the University of Portland.
Correct.
In fact, I think you told me you're pursuing your master's degree in MBA, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And what's your background in soccer?
I started playing at a young age in McMinnville, Oregon. I think it was 4 when I first went to my brother's game, and I just loved kicking the ball around. And from that point on, I just enjoyed being on the field. And yeah.
You started out at the University of Portland?
No, I was originally at Concordia University.
They have a very good soccer program too.
They did, and then yeah.
Then you transferred to UP?
Yeah, so after the school dissolved before
yes,
COVID,
I forgot about that.
then I was fortunate enough to land at the University of Portland.
And how was your experience at the University of Portland?
It's been great so far. The first year, unfortunately, I got injured, so I was out for about 18 months, but then I was able to hit the ground running this past spring and fall, and Was fortunate enough for Matt to give me the call again and play with him last summer. So.
You have you been able to practice with your teammates very much?
We've had 3 practices. So.
Okay. And what about the bonds between the team? Is that enough time for you guys to get some camaraderie between you?
Certainly. I know a couple of them, probably 10 to 15 of them from previous occasions, either playing here in Oregon or through college. And so I think playing against them or playing with them is really important. And you get the sense that three trainings you can do a lot. So.
I forgot to ask you, what position do you play on the soccer field?
I play a left defender.
Left defender. Mm-hmm. And do you have aspirations to keep playing after?
Certainly.
After this?
Yeah.
Okay, you're looking forward to the upcoming season. Do you know many of the players around the league?
Yeah, I have some teammates who go across, and then previous college opponents are scattered around, and so it should be good to play them again.
All right, we're looking forward to seeing you Friday night now. That's at Oregon Episcopal School. The start time is 7 o'clock, and it's Old Town FC. Do you know anything about them?
We played them twice last year. They're a good bunch, so we're gonna have to take it to them.
All right, gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. Dylan Lamanto is Director of Operations for United PDX, both the men and the women. Matt Broadhead, who's the coach for United PDX, not just the coach, also the general manager. He's got dual responsibilities. And Nick Denley, we'll look forward to watching you on the pitch on Friday night. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dave Hall from Level Beer, one of the sponsors of United PDX. Good night, everybody.